on Steelers Talk. It is Victory Friday here on Steelers Talk. To all the real ones tuning in right at the beginning of today's show, welcome into Steelers Talk Live. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and on today's show, we are going to be breaking down the latest Steelers news and rumors. Got some injury updates. We got some word on why Chukwuma Okorafor was benched yesterday for rookie Broderick Jones. Also, after the Cole Holcomb injury, he's going to be out for the season now with that gruesome knee injury. I don't know if you guys watched the slow motion video of that last night, but oh my goodness, man, that was pretty gross. But anyway, man, it's looking like there's going to be a roster spot opening up here. Should the Steelers look to free agency to potentially add to this Steelers roster? I got 8 free agency targets for the Steelers to target post-trade deadline. And then, as always, I'm going to be answering your questions here on the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Steelers Talk Live mailbag. So make sure you use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get things going today. Get on the show, hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to skip the line and get your question on today's show. I'm going to welcome in Jeffrey Cooperstein today. He is missing out on the Texas Rangers parade today. He came into work. Very nice of him. He's dedicated to Steelers Nation, baby. I love it. He's waving that towel, and you know what that means, baby. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, baby. Let's get this thing. Let's get the show on the road here, Coop. Improved to 5-3 yesterday with a 20-16 win.
They just find ways to win.
They find the ways to win, man. I mean, you look at the way this team has played so far. Lots of people are calling the Steelers frauds right now because they haven't outgained a single opponent this entire season. Not even the Raiders.
0-8.
They are 0-8 in terms of total offense so far this year. Yet we're sitting here at 5-3. To me, that is just a testament to not only this defense, but Mike Tomlin, his ability to really just be one of the best head coaches in the National Football League, finding ways to win. That's what great teams and great coaches do. I think this is a testament to Mike Tomlin's ability to get the most out of his teams. What do you think?
The guy's awesome, man. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL for a reason. He just gets his teams to win. He gets the best out of his players. And here this team is about halfway through the season, 5-3, 9 games remaining. And they're ready to take on the rest, and hopefully they can end up winning the North.
Yeah, man. I mean, hopefully. I mean, Cincinnati's looking real good. Ravens are looking good. I'm kind of just hoping that they can make the playoffs this year. Also, another thing to kind of note from last night, Kenny Pickett, his 7th game-winning drive in the fourth quarter and or overtime. And that is a third of his games. 21 starts, 7 game-winning drives. I mean, this kid just shows up when the lights get brightest. And, you know, I know there's probably going to be a lot of Steelers fans that do not like that I'm making this comparison, but the only other quarterback that I've seen not really be a good quarterback in the first 3 quarters and then all of a sudden turn it on right at the end is Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow, yeah.
Now, Kenny Pickett's better than Tim Tebow.
Much better.
We all know that. He's way better as an overall quarterback than Tim Tebow, but you know, Kenny, you look at the numbers in the first 3 quarters this year, not all that great. I thought he played a pretty even game last night. They didn't ask too much of him. He didn't really throw the ball down the field too much until the fourth quarter. It was mostly short throws, and they really prioritized the run game, which was working really well. They had 166 yards of rush yards yesterday. Jaylen Warren was the leading rusher for the Pittsburgh Steelers, by the way. But Kenny Pickett, man, when those big throws need to be made, that throw on 3rd down to Deontay Johnson, Coop, absolutely stellar on 3rd and long.
Yeah,
you got to
awesome.
have that first down, and he put it on a dot. And then, of course, he gets the touchdown to win the game there with 4 minutes left to go. So let's talk a little bit about Cole Holcomb here. He's going to miss the rest of this season with a really, really gruesome knee injury. You guys saw the video last night. It was not pretty, plain and simply. So there's an opening on the roster for the Pittsburgh Steelers to go and get a potential free agent. They could also bring someone on the practice squad. Who do you guys want to bring in to replace Cole Holcomb's spot on this roster? Because right now you only have 3 linebackers. So it's like, what are you going to do? Like, are you just going to roll with Quan Alexander, a Landon Roberts, and Mark Robinson? Or are you going to bring in maybe like an Anthony Barr or somebody like that to replace Holcomb's spot in the linebacker room? What do you think, Coop?
I saw someone mention Rashaan Evans, but didn't he get signed?
Rashaan Evans? I think he did get signed. I want to say with the Eagles?
Or Cowboys, maybe?
I don't know. I don't think he's still out there.
Yeah, but I do think they need to go get someone because that just leaves you extremely thin with Roberts and Alexander and Robinson as well. You got to go get someone, even if it's just a guy for depth.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that. Even if you go get a guy like Anthony Barr, it's not like you have to start him, right? I think he's a pretty decent fit with the Steelers. He's a good blitzer. He was an edge in college, really good blitzer with the Minnesota Vikings when in the early part of his career. But, man, yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Steelers address that roster spot. We're going to go over some free agency targets later in today's show, some potential options with you guys. But then also let me know right now, what do you guys think in terms of the Steelers' record prediction right now? We ask you guys this every single week. What are you guys thinking right now when it comes to the final record? I mean, I've gone between 9-8 and between 9-8 and 13-4 during this season. I'm currently sitting. I think this seems to me like a 10-7 ball club, Coop. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, 10-7 seems pretty reasonable right now. We're 5-3, right?
Yeah.
So that would make 5-4 the rest of the year. I think that's extremely reasonable, and they can do that.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that gets you in the playoffs, I believe.
Yeah, 10-7 will get you right there. Maybe 7-6 seeds, something like that in the AFC.
Probably doesn't win the division.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. So Daniel Lacey is asking, hey, Coop, how much do I donate to get you to take your shirt off?
Good God.
Somebody asked $100 super chat?
500.
Come on, Coop, that's too much. I'll take my shirt off for 100. I would take off my shirt for 100.
That's wild.
Are we gonna do $100 today?
500.
Oh my gosh, Coop's being stingy today, guys. He doesn't wanna take the tarp off today. $500 super chat, I guess, is the price for Jeffrey Cooperstein today. I don't know, man. Let's see now. Okay, so Coop, what is your final record prediction here? Mine is 10-7. Are you agreeing with me here?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 10-7. I don't think they're gonna be 11-6. 9-8 seems a little too low, so 10-7 is that sweet spot.
Yeah, I would agree. Maya's World says 13-5. Colin says 11-6. I could see 11-6 as well, for sure. Bill Jennings says 11-6. Matt Hyde thinks 12-5. Let's see if we got any more. Doesn't look like we got any more, but hey, man, I definitely think that the Steelers, if they keep playing, especially if their run game plays like they did last night, this team can win football games that way, right? Get the run game going. Kenny Pickett shows up in the fourth quarter. The defense plays well, and you find a way to win ball games. That is Pittsburgh Steeler football right there. And, although we might want to eventually in the future get a little bit of a paradigm shift here where the offense is getting 400-plus yard performances, and this is a dynamic offense. Right now, I mean, it just seems like their style of play is to kind of manage the game, not turn the ball over. Kenny Pickett didn't have an interception last night again. And that's really the winning formula for the Pittsburgh Steelers here, Coop. Kenny Pickett protects the football, the defense keeps them in the game, and then Kenny Pickett wins it for them in the fourth quarter. That's been their recipe for success the last 2 years, and it's working.
The winning formula is, number one, Kenny Pickett stinks for 3 quarters, is great for fourth, and Matt Canada being on the sideline. Yeah, that's the winning formula. Apparently,
Matt Canada being on the sideline just changed something. I actually attribute it more to Broderick Jones.
Details.
I mean, Broderick Jones looked great yesterday, man. Particularly as a run blocker. I mean, that run offense yesterday looked completely different. I accredit that to Broderick Jones at right tackle getting the job done last night. So our Super Chat menu today, we got a pretty basic one today. $5, we'll do a Here We Go Steelers chant. Wave the towels around. $10, we'll sing the O Canada song. $20, you'll get your name on the Hard Hat Hall of Fame. And then we got the world's hottest jelly beans for $50. We did these on the watch party yesterday. And these things are the hottest jelly beans in the world. Coop threw up because he had the hottest jelly bean in the world in the Carolina Reaper. It's hotter than the one chip challenge. All right, so if you want us to get this going here, $50 super chats, and we'll eat these red hot jelly beans. And if you want to join Steelers Talk Gold Club today, for life, you get raffle entries to every raffle that we do. Plus, you get a super chat sticker. It's pretty much like a blue check mark, Coop, here for Steelers Talk fans. So appreciate everybody. You also get a shout out on every single live show. So shout out to Austin Tardif, Mo Love, Brian Love, Anthony Fuller, Nathan Glass, James Lombardo, DJ V, Patty Gustafson, Elliptic 6, Alexander Watson, Zach Eckerd, Troy Hart, Andrew Longoria, Jesse Johnson, Go Blue Buckeye, Samuel Pugh, Hot Rod 24, Black and Gold Emperor 40, Lord Buddy Bear, Max Payne, Chad Corley, F1 Video Watcher, Steelers Dad, Jesper Tarkelson, Jacob Wieserek, and Nightmare. Thank you guys so much for all of the support that you give to the channel. And also congratulations to our newest Black Diamond from yesterday, Elliptic 6. And shout out to all of our Black Diamonds. Elliptic 6, unfortunately, we did not have time to figure out your super chat sticker today. We're just too busy at the office today, but I promise you it will be ready by next week's live show, Elliptic 6. Thank you so much for your support and your MVP effort last night. Also, shout out to Go Blue Buckeye, Mr. Glass himself, Nathan Glass, F1 Video Watcher, and Samuel Pugh. So before we get into our first segment today, if you want to get your name on the Steelers Talk Hard Hat Hall of Fame, you can send in a $20 super chat, or you can spam W in the chat right now for the next minute. Come on, baby. Let's get for the next minute. Spam those W's. Spam them. Break the record. Whoever puts in the most W's in the next 60 seconds will get their name on the Steelers Talk hard hat. Coop, could you get Smitty to bring in the hard hat real quick?
I'll go get it.
All right, Coop's going to go get it. All right, I see Young Noticeable in there. I see Bill Jennings. I see my girlfriend, Cassie Voth. What's up, babe? We got Ben's Randomness. We got Christopher Smith in here. Who wants to get on the helmet today? We got Darlene. We got Elliptic 6. We got John. We got Ali the Reaper. Who wants a spot on the helmet? Come on now. Get us going in the chat. I see Ben's Randomness again. Ali the Reaper, Young Noticeable. Who wants a spot on the helmet? DK the Yinzer. Ben's Randomness again. Elliptic 6. Snowman is here. Drake Barrett. Bill Jennings. Ali the Reaper. Drake Barrett again. Who's going to win it? You got 15 more seconds. Come on. Spam those W's. Do we have the marker too? The marker is in the little tub that I have next to my desk. It's the silver one. I see Lone Wolf. I see Ducky. I see John. I see Lone Wolf. Who wants it? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. I'm going to check the analytics right now. And it's Young Noticeable. Young Noticeable, you get your name on the helmet today. Congratulations, my friend. Young Noticeable is a real one. Let's go, baby. Young Noticeable is on the Steelers Talk Hard Hat Hall of Fame. I see Brandon Nicholson in here. What's up, Brandon? Thank you. All right, we got Young Noticeable on the helmet now, Coop. Let's go. Let's ride. Young Noticeable. Congratulations, Young Noticeable, baby. Let's go. And if you want to get your name on the helmet next, $20 super chat, and you'll get in there. All right, man. So we're about to get into this first segment. But first, if you haven't already, we got 90 people watching right now. We got about 30 likes. I want to get to 50 likes before we start today's show. Can we get 20 more likes to get things going today? Let's go, man. We got 90 people watching. We need 20 more likes to get today's show going. We got news and rumors. We got all this different stuff coming up. So make sure you click that thumbs up icon. Coop, did you see today that George Pickens put on his Instagram, like, feed Pickens?
I did see that, and that's a little concerning because I feel like they've done a good job of at least targeting him, but maybe they haven't made him the focal point of the offense, which is what he's looking for, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
It was interesting, though.
Last night it was more the run game. It was more Deontay. He was getting doubled a lot last night as well. So, GP, I think, just needs to understand that there's going to be some nights where he's getting targeted a lot, and then there's going to be some nights where it's going to be the run game, where it's going to be he gets doubled, where it's going to be Deontay's night, whatever the case may be. So hopefully he's going to be okay. I know there's some people in Steelers Nation that are very worried about George Pickens, worrying about him being a potential Antonio Brown down the line. I don't necessarily see it getting that bad, but hopefully I'm not wrong on that. All right, so coming up here, we're 3 likes away from getting things going. But today, I'm going to be going over the latest Steelers news and rumors, talk about Josh McDaniels. Should he be the next offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm going to be answering that question here in just a second. Then also, after Cole Holcomb's injury last night, that leaves an open roster spot. Which free agents could the Steelers consider to replace him and on the free agent market right now? And then also, make sure you use #Steelers or Super Chat to get on today's Steelers Talk Live mailbag. Really do appreciate everybody in the chat right now. We just got to 50 likes. So, Coop, are we ready to get things going?
One moment, and then we will be ready.
All right, Coop wants 1 moment.
Uno momento.
So let's give him 1 moment here, people, and we'll get into today's show. All right, Steelers Talk Live, getting going with our first segment right now. Could Josh McDaniels be the next offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers? I'm going to discuss that possibility on today's edition of Steelers Talk. Then also, I've got some more takeaways from Thursday Night Football that I'm going to share with you guys. I got 3 more that I didn't share in my post-game coverage. And then also, we have a big injury update on Cole Holcomb that we're going to be revealing at the end of today's show. So make sure you guys stick around and what that could mean for the Steelers moving forward. But before we get into the juicy stuff today, the meat and potatoes of today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors, make sure you click that thumbs up icon and like today's video if you're excited that the Steelers got to 5-3 and beat the Tennessee Titans there on Thursday. So now let's talk about Josh McDaniels, the potential next offensive coordinator of the Pittsburgh Steelers, where, of course, he was the Raiders head coach here for about the last year and a half, finally fired by Mark Davis. And in my opinion, Josh McDaniels is not a head coach in the National Football League. He's had 2 chances to kind of make his mark as a head coach, and it just hasn't worked out for Josh McD right now. So it looks like he's going to get an offensive coordinator job eventually. He's been really successful in that role throughout his career. So if the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to bring him in, what can Steelers fans hope to expect from Josh McDaniels as an offensive play caller? Well, his offensive scheme, he runs a modern pro spread offense. He's kind of comes from the Earhart-Perkins kind of school of thought here, where the quarterback is going to be heavily important to this system. You need a quarterback that's extremely intelligent, somebody that's accurate, somebody that's extremely precise in his processing. And then he has to have excellent chemistry with his wide receivers. Lots of choice routes, lots of option routes. The quarterback has ultimate control at the line of scrimmage, can tell whatever receiver at any time to run any route. So if you're the quarterback in this system, not only do you have to learn this very complex system, not only do you have to have excellent chemistry with these wide receivers to execute these choice routes, but you have to be able to understand what a defense is showing you pre-snap and then get the offense into the right play. Really need a highly intelligent quarterback, which is why guys like Tom Brady, Mac Jones in his rookie season really succeeded in Josh McDaniels' offense, because they're highly intelligent and they can get the offense in and out of the right play given what the defense is showing them. It's a very difficult system to master, but if you can master it, and Tom Brady showed this throughout his time in New England, you can absolutely be dominant with this type of offense. Plus, Josh McDaniels has already failed as a head coach twice, so if he comes to the Steelers, who have a defensive head coach in Mike Tomlin, and he ends up having success here, he's likely not going to get poached for a third opportunity to be a head coach. So this might be the perfect opportunity for the Pittsburgh Steelers to not only get a top-of-the-line offensive play caller in their building, but to keep him long-term because nobody wants to take a shot at this guy as their next head coach. And my take on this whole situation is that although I'd love to have McDaniels at the top of the short list and he would love to come to Pittsburgh and this is where he would want to be, I really don't think that Pittsburgh is at the top of his list right now. I think he wants to go back, work with his buddy, Bill Belichick, and he really is Belichick's guy, right? Every single time he's been available, Belichick brings him back into the fold. And, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do with Belichick there in New England moving forward. But even if Belichick gets fired, who's the guy that he's going to bring elsewhere to be his offensive coordinator? It's going to be Josh McDaniels, right? So no matter what, I really do think that Bill O'Brien's out working in New England right now. I don't really see any reason why Bill wouldn't bring Josh McDaniels back to New England if he does keep his job in New England. But even if Bill gets fired and he gets a chance to start fresh elsewhere, I really think Josh McDaniels is going to be his first choice. And if you're Josh McDaniels and you've had that much success with a guy like Bill Belichick in the past, why wouldn't you want to go work with that guy again? So as much as I would consider Josh McDaniels as a potential offensive coordinator candidate for the Pittsburgh Steelers moving forward, I really don't think it's that much of a realistic possibility. But if we want to talk more about a realistic possibility here for the Pittsburgh Steelers, let's talk about Byron Leftwich. And Big Ben Roethlisberger says that if the Steelers move on from Matt Canada as the offensive coordinator, and given the trajectory of the season right now, it definitely seems like that's a big-time possibility at this point. It seems like Big Ben wants his former backup quarterback to take this job because he thinks he's a good offensive coordinator. This is what Big Ben had to say on his podcast here about Byron Leftwich. I think if the team was to move on from Matt Canada, I would love to see Byron Leftwich come in here and be the OC. He was there. He played under Coach Tomlin. He understands what it means to be a Steeler. I think he's a great offensive coordinator. Now, I wouldn't mind Byron Leftwich either. He might not be my number one choice, like I said before on the show, man. Like, Byron Leftwich really struggled in Tampa Bay last year, even with Tom Brady, right? So, I think Leftwich is somebody that runs it's actually a pretty similar offense to what Josh McDaniels runs there with the Earnhardt Perkins, but it's more Bruce Arians based than Earnhardt Perkins, where it's a lot more choice routes. It's a lot more down the field passing in Leftwich's offense compared to Josh McDaniels. So it kind of depends what your vision is for the future of the offense here in Pittsburgh and what you'd want to see. But Byron Leftwich, man, he does have that Steeler culture instilled in him. He knows what it means to hold that position here in this city and represent this football franchise. So I wouldn't mind Byron Leftwich at all. But personally, if you ask me, if I was in charge of getting the next offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I am trying to get somebody from the Kyle Shanahan tree that's going around town right now. These guys understand the modern trends in the NFL that we all know we're not seeing from the Steelers offense right now. Motion before the snap, crossing routes, getting guys open in space. The modern elements in the NFL that teams like San Francisco, Miami, Los Angeles, all these different teams are taking advantage of right now. The Steelers just aren't doing that. They're throwing outside the numbers. They have stagnant formations. They have predictable play calls. I mean, all these different things. And then you put on top of that Matt Canada's terrible situational play calling, and it's a recipe for disaster. So if I had two people that I would hire, if I had a choice, I would be fine with either one of these gentlemen right here. Chris Forster, the run game coordinator / offensive line coach from San Francisco, would be my number one option. I think he's an excellent offensive mind. He's worked with the offensive line before as well. So he's somebody that could fix the Steelers' offensive line immediately. Then you get Darrell Bevell, the QB coach from the Miami Dolphins, is currently tutoring under Mike McDaniel, who is one of the brightest offensive minds in the National Football League, doing all this awesome pre-snap motion stuff that they're doing in Miami. I would love to see that system implemented here in the Steel City. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Pick an offensive coordinator for the future. Are you picking Josh McDaniels, type JM? Are you taking Byron Leftwich, type BL? Are you going with Chris Forster, type CF? Or if you're going with Darrell Bevell, type DB. And if there's somebody else, just let me know down there in the comments. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. So now let's go over some of my other takeaways here from the Tennessee Titans game in Week 9, Thursday Night Football, a 20-16 victory. And my first takeaway here is that Kenny Clutch is absolutely a real thing at this point. This is now his 7th game-winning drive in the fourth quarter or overtime in just 21 starts. That's absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, from somebody that's this young, that's just getting started in the National Football League. Now, Kenny definitely needs to be more productive in the first 3 quarters, right? There's no doubt about that. But I think some of that can be attributed to Matt Canada. Of course, some of it is obviously on Pickett, and he needs to improve that. But given that ability to show up when the lights are brightest, that shows me that Kenny Pickett could absolutely one day be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback if he figures things out and if he develops in the years to come. I've pretty much never seen a quarterback like this before. Usually quarterbacks are good or decent in the first 3 quarters, and then they shrink in the fourth quarter, right? That's what you usually see because the pressure isn't quite as high in the first 3 quarters. And when the pressure gets on there, they shrink. But it's the exact opposite here with Kenny Pickett, where first 3 quarters, not so great. Then he gets to the fourth quarter, and he's a top 10 quarterback in this league. The only other quarterback that I really remember seeing like this is Tim Tebow when he was playing with the Denver Broncos. Now, obviously, Kenny Pickett is a much better quarterback overall than Tim Tebow. I'm not necessarily saying Kenny Pickett is Tim Tebow, okay? That's not what I'm saying, so don't come at me in the comments for that. However, that ability to turn it up when the lights are brightest and deliver victories, he absolutely has that Tebow effect here in Pittsburgh. And if he can develop those first 3 quarters and really become a fully encapsulated, realized talent here in Pittsburgh, the Steelers might have something here in Kenny Pickett. Number 2 takeaway here, JPJ, Joey Porter Jr. is a freaking star, man. I absolutely loved watching his tape this week against DeAndre Hopkins. And listen, there's people on Twitter, there's Cleveland Brown crybabies on Twitter saying, oh, this guy holds on every single play. This guy is such a cheater. Blah, 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 blah. Well, here's the thing, man. This guy's no doubt about it. He's physical. Can he get a little bit too grabby at times? Yes. But listen, man, plain simply, you can get away, if you can get away with it, that's an elite trait in an NFL shutdown corner. I'm sorry, it is. If you can get away with being a little bit too physical at the catch point, if you can get away with these things, I mean, that's a positive for the football team, right? The negative is when it becomes a penalty. And right now, Joey Porter Jr. definitely got a couple of penalties to clean up at this point. But in press coverage, Joey Porter Jr. locked up somebody that I consider a top 10 quarter or wide receiver in this league right now in DeAndre Hopkins. Absolutely destroyed the Falcons the week before, and Joey Porter Jr. covered him like a freaking glove. I'm calling him Joey the Glove Porter. He's absolutely fantastic, and I think he's going to be a star in this league moving forward. So still to come on today's show, I got 2 more Week 9 takeaways to come. I got a Cole Holcomb injury update for you guys, and then also I got some updated Steelers playoff chances after the win here in Week 9. So you don't want to miss that. But first, let's talk about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And let me tell you, man, I've been absolutely addicted to using Prize Picks. This app is absolutely fantastic ever since we started partnering with them. And guess what? I actually made some money last night betting or picking the Steelers yesterday. So if you want to spice up your game days this NFL season, get started with Prize Picks today. Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game. And if you're looking for a more fun way to spend your game days, look no further than Prize Picks. You might be asking yourself, how does it work? Well, you pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can take a look at my picks for this Sunday's matchup between the Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs. Really explosive matchup there. I'm taking the less on Tua Tagovailoa's passing yards, and then I'm going to take the more on Patrick Mahomes. I think Mahomes is going to have a nice bounce-back performance after kind of a slumping one there against the Denver Broncos. You can check it out now and get your Prize Picks in before Sunday's action by going to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. Get them in before football starts on Sunday. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. Now, my final takeaway here from Week 9 is that the run game finally got going. I mean, this is one of the biggest reasons why the Steelers offense has been so putrid to start this season is because the run game has not been able to get going with Najee Harris leading the way. And then this week, it was more of a 50-50 committee between Najee and Jaylen Warren. And not only did Najee look more fresh in this game, he had a touchdown in this football game as well, really nice one there on the first drive of the game. But then Jaylen Warren got the opportunity to make plays, and he actually led this team in rushing. He was a big-time playmaker for this offense. Arguably, besides maybe Deontay Johnson, the best offensive player on the field yesterday for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm telling you guys right now, I think Jaylen Warren is probably the best running back on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I'm not trying to say that Najee should not get any reps whatsoever and that he should be completely put on the tailpipe here and he shouldn't play at all. Of course, he has a big role to play in this offense, right? He's got a big, powerful frame. He's somebody that's valuable in the red zone, all these different things. But Jaylen Warren provides that oomph. He provides that little bit of playmaking element, the short area quickness to kind of sift through these really short areas that Najee just doesn't have at his size. And it's not Najee's fault, right? But I think that Jaylen Warren is the type of guy that's kind of in the mold of an Austin Eckler. He's not as good as Eckler is, obviously, but Jaylen Warren is kind of that similar type of guy. Very shifty, very smart, very fast as well. And I'm telling you, man, this guy is one of the best playmakers on this team, maybe besides George Pickens and Deontay Johnson. I think Jaylen Warren might be the third best offensive player on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. But let me know if you agree with me down there in the comments section. Who's the best running back on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now? Type JW if you think it's Jaylen Warren, or type NH if you think it's Najee Harris. And now the next year, before I go, I do have some final news items that I want to share with you guys here around the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a ton of news going around right now, so let's jump right into it. Let's start with kind of the biggest news of the day surrounding starting linebacker Cole Holcomb. He is now going to be out for the season with a gruesome knee injury. I don't know if you guys saw that slow motion video. We're not going to show it on here, I can tell you that much. But it's pretty gruesome. It's pretty gross. Looks like it's going to be a while for Cole Holcomb to get back. We wish him all the best. Make sure you spam 55 in the comments here to show some love to Cole Holcomb. And then also, there's another injury yesterday that I know that there's a lot of Steelers fans that were concerned about. Treylon Burks, the wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans, had to get carted off in the fourth quarter. Really did not look good. Completely passed out after an incomplete. Tried to go up to make a catch there on an incomplete pass, and he kind of fell to the turf, and it just didn't look great. He suffered a concussion. It wasn't anything super major, and he ended up walking out of the stadium last night, so that's great news to hear for Treylon Burks. It's good to see that he's going to be okay. And then, something that I thought was really interesting was Chukwuma Okorafor talked to the media about why he was benched for Broderick Jones at the right tackle spot. And he said it was his own fault because he, quote-unquote, acted out after the Steelers' Week 8 loss versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is what Okorafor had to say. I talked to Coach Tomlin, and he said it has nothing to do with my play on the field. It was something that happened last week, talking about Week 8, towards the end of the game versus the Jaguars. I wasn't sure what's going to happen, but we'll see what happens next week, talking about who's going to start next week versus the Green Bay Packers. Hopefully, I'll be back out there. I have no idea yet. I kind of said stuff I shouldn't have said. Being in year 6, I can't act out how I was acting out. So it seems like Chukwuma Okorafor is certainly in trouble right now. There's rumors going around that because Broderick Jones played so well last night versus the Titans that the Steelers are considering cutting Chukwuma Okorafor. If that happens, man, that would be a huge development for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Make sure you click that subscribe button in case they cut Chukwuma Okorafor in the days to come. So let me know what you guys think. What's going to happen here with Chucks? Do they keep him, or do you think that they cut him? Will he get cut before the year ends? Type C if you think they're going to cut Chucks, or if you think they're going to keep him. Type K down there in the comment section. Final news item of the day here, which is that the Pittsburgh Steelers' chances to make the playoffs have exponentially gone up after that win versus the Tennessee Titans. If they would have lost yesterday's game, according to Pro Football Focus, their chances of making the playoffs would have only been a 23%. But because you come away with the victory and you're sitting at 5-3, your chances to go to the playoffs are now about 50-50. 51% is the exact figure right there. So you got to be feeling pretty good about the black and gold here as we approach the Packer week coming up here, especially because you got a long week here to prepare. I think the Steelers are going to beat Green Bay. You're going to be sitting at 6-3, and that number, that probability of making the NFL postseason this year is only going to go up. Now, let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Will the Pittsburgh Steelers make the playoffs this year? They were a hair away. They were a Joe Flacco 13-point performance last year from making the playoffs. Do they get the job done this year with Kenny Pickett as their quarterback and Matt Canada as their offensive coordinator? Type yes or no for me down there in the comment section and let me know. Thank you guys so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right, man. So that's our first one. Let's get it going. We still got our mailbag, and then we got free agency targets still to come. If you want to get your questions on the show, use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get things going today. Tell you what, if we get a $100 Super Chat, I will take my shirt off. I will let Coop decide what he's going to do.
Before the show, you did say that was a doozy. That was a doozy.
I know. Like I was in the middle of that one. I'm like, holy crap, man, this is a long video. I bet it's over 20, right?
Almost.
It was almost 20. So not quite a Michigan video. So we've got a mailbag here coming up. So get your questions down in the chat if you want to make today's show. Got a question for me? We got 150 people watching. Coop, I want to get into this mailbag relatively quick. So if we can get if we can get these questions rounded up and then get into this mailbag.
We need more questions.
We need more questions. So if we want to get some things going here, if you got a question for me about Matt Canada, about Kenny Pickett, about George Pickens, about Deontay Johnson, about somebody, about Cole Holcomb, about anything.
We've got 4 questions. We need more.
All right, so we just got a $2 super chat from Logie. What's up, Logie? Says off first instinct.
I think there's some beef in the chat.
Oh, so there's some beef in the chat right now. So Logie, man, you gotta be nice. All right, gotta be nice now.
Sean, ask that same question, but use hashtag Steelers on the end of it.
Sean, use hashtag Steelers. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get your question on today's show. I see Go Blue Buckeyes in the chat. What's up, man? We got a black diamond here. Let's go, man. What's up, Go Blue Buckeye? Good to see you, my friend. All right, let's show the Super Chat menu here while people get their questions in. Use hashtag Steelers or Super Chat along with your question to get on the show here. $5 Super Chats, we'll do a Here We Go Steelers chant. $10, we'll sing an Oh Canada song. $20 gets your name on the hard hat. If your name is already on the hard hat, you could pick somebody to put their name on the hard hat. $50, we got these hot-ass jelly beans that we were eating yesterday. You guys seem to like them a bit. So if you want to send in a $50, we'll burn our mouths a little bit. And then $100, you can be in Steelers Talk Gold Club. So we appreciate everybody. We got a couple more questions here, Coop.
Looks like I think we got a few more.
Okay. So we still need a couple more before we get going. I want to get into this mailbag as quickly as possible. Let's go. Let's get it going. Can you Slack Smitty real quick and ask him to bring my charger in here? I know. Before you say anything, I know. Just I'll Slack him, all right? I'll Slack him. Let's see if Smith is available.
Everyone type F Sperry in the chat right now because I remind him for every single show. This guy doesn't charge his laptop.
I'm not the only one that forgets to do it though.
Oh, you are the only one.
Plus we were scrambling a little bit to get on today's show for sure.
You're the only one.
I am not the only one. That is just not true. Yeah, thank you, young noticeable. F Coop. Because Coop isn't being understanding of the situation right now. Coop just says, just plug your shit in. Oh my goodness. All right, so we got about 150 people watching. Can we get up to 80 likes? We're 8 likes away from getting to 80 likes. Can we get to 80 likes before we get into this? Let's go. All right. Ooh, he literally threw it at me, people. All right. So, I think we have enough questions now, Coop. I think we have enough questions. So right now, let's get into this mailbag. Get those super chats in. If If you guys want us to do some crazy shit today, we'll do it. But I guess we'll see. I can't wait to see these questions that you got for me, man. So let's get into the Steelers Talk mailbag. Are we good, Coop? My laptop is charging. All right, we had to make sure about that. All right, let's get into the weekly Steelers Talk mailbag coming at you right now. Steelers questions coming at you here in Week 9 in the NFL season. My name is Jack Sperry. Welcome in to the weekly Steelers Talk mailbag, where I answer your questions on everything that there is to know about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Before we jump in to today's questions, make sure you click that subscribe button and join the most interactive Steelers YouTube community here on the platform. We are growing like crazy, over 2,000 subscribers in just the last 2 weeks. You guys are really responding to the stuff that we're putting out here. We appreciate all of your support. And with that, I'll pause and open it up for questions. All right, now we got Matt Hyde for the first question of the day. He says, do you think Canada should stay on the sidelines instead of in the press box? Yes, I do. I think you stick with what's working. How much is it actually working? I don't know, right? Probably not that much. I would actually accredit the offensive success last night to more, or by the way, we're filming this on Friday. This is probably going to come out a little bit later if you're not watching it live. I credit it more to Broderick Jones playing right tackle than Matt Canada playing on the sidelines. Broderick Jones was awesome as a run blocker on Thursday night, and I think that had more of an effect because this Steelers offense, it was buoyed by the run game. 166 yards. They had more yards rushing than passing on Thursday night. So I think adding a really good run blocker and Broderick Jones probably had a bigger effect than Matt Canada, the offensive play caller, who would have had the exact same plan regardless on the sideline. Now, it's good to have him there. He was celebrating with the guys when they scored the touchdown. I think you stick with what's working, and what's working right now is he's on the sideline. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure how much it really affects it here moving forward. And then we got Chuck Dugan here, or Dugan, and he says, do you think they're going to move Broderick Jones to left tackle and Dan Moore to right tackle by the end of the year? Maybe. I think that if they continue to have success with this, though, where, they didn't give up a sack on Thursday night, if they keep having success like they had last night, I think they're just going to keep it with Dan Moore at left tackle and Broderick Jones at right tackle. I know that you drafted Broderick to play left tackle, and I think eventually he will move over there. But especially with the way that we've seen this offense play in the early parts of the season, you don't fix what ain't broken, especially if you're getting something going. So as long as this combination of 5 offensive linemen continue to have success, I think that they're going to keep it the way that it is moving forward. Then we got $2 super chat from Logie. And he says, Kenny 225 plus 1 TD. So versus Green Bay. Win versus Green Bay. Kenny gets 225 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Warren and Najee combined 4, 135, 2 TDs. I think that's a pretty decent prediction there, Logie. I think that's pretty realistic. Kenny would have to have one of his better games of the year to get up to 225. But listen, Green Bay's defense stinks, man. They play cover 4 quarters on pretty much every single play. Super predictable defense. Jordan Love is not that guy at the quarterback position with TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, and Cam Hayward getting after his ass. Good luck is all I have to say to Mr. Jordan Love, man. So I think Green Bay is in for a rough afternoon in Week 10. I think the Steelers are going to improve to 6-3 as well. Then we got one from Matt Indonesia here. He says, how much of an impact did having Matt Canada on the sidelines have on the Steelers offense last night? So same question as before. And the answer is I don't think it had that much of an impact, maybe a little bit of an impact, but really the big one was starting Broderick Jones over Chukwuma Okorafor at right tackle, in my opinion. That added a really good run blocker and to an offensive line that's just not done a very good job at run blocking so far this year. I thought Broderick had an excellent night last night, or on Thursday night, I should say, and he played really well. So I think that had more of an impact, but hey, you don't fix what isn't broken, especially with the way that this season started. All right, so now let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section with our pinned comment today. Is the Steelers offense finally fixed now? Type yes or type no. Let me know what you guys think. Again, this is the pinned comment, so YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, take advantage of that time by typing yes or no down there in the comments. Then we got one from Bulls Nation. Says, since John Gruden is best friends with Mike Tomlin, will he be a candidate for the offensive coordinator? I don't think so. I think multiple people close to Gruden have already said he will not even consider an offensive coordinator job. He need a true head coaching job. He's not going to be going down the totem pole at this point in his life. So I really don't think John Gruden is going to be an offensive coordinator for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think it's way more likely that it's Byron Leftwich or Josh McDaniels or Chris Forster, hopefully, or Darrell Bevell, hopefully. Somebody from the Shanahan tree would be real nice. I don't really see John Gruden as a possibility. And even if he was a possibility, I think there's better options out there. Then we got one from Sean here. He says, do you think George Pickens wants out of Pittsburgh? He posted on Instagram an Instagram story of him saying, free me, and unfollowed the Steelers. So I think he's upset a little bit right now that he didn't get the ball that much on that Thursday night win versus the Titans. And, this is a little bit troublesome because you want your star players to be happy when you win and not necessarily throw a fit, especially when you win, right, about targets. But here's the thing with George Pickens. He's going to get his days this season. We've already seen it this year, right? He's going to have his days where he's getting targeted 10 times a game, right? But there's going to also be games where the run game is going well. Deontay Johnson is absolutely torching the opposing defense. And your opponent is double teaming you on almost every snap. So those games are going to happen. George needs to understand that. And, I think that there's potential for a potential blow up in the future, like Antonio Brown happened earlier. There's definitely that potential right now. But George Pickens is such a crazy talent. I don't honestly care right now. He is absolutely an amazing talent. Get this guy the freaking football and make him happy, because you don't find George Pickens every single day. Then you get First Down Steelers here. It says, after last night, what are the chances Pickett is the starting quarterback for the Steelers in 2024? So we've talked about this on the show before. Right now, I'd say 85% at this point. Because Kenny, he has something that not every quarterback has, right? His special ability, Colin Cowherd likes to say there's nothing special about Kenny Pickett. He's wrong. The special thing about Kenny Pickett is the intangible quality to be able to play his best on the biggest of stages when the lights are brightest in the fourth quarter with the game on the line. You don't see that in quarterbacks every single day. So if Kenny Pickett can maybe be freed of Matt Canada, right? He can get some good blocking in front of him, get an offensive coordinator in here that actually knows what he's doing, right? Look at Tua Tagovailoa. His first 2 years with Brian Flores as his head coach and an offensive coordinator that didn't know what he was doing, he looked like a bust. Then you get Mike McDaniel in there, and he looks like a top 10 quarterback in this league. So I'm not ready to give up on Kenny Pickett. Probably 80 to 85, maybe 90% at this point. I think this offense is starting to turn over a new leaf, and hopefully this Steelers offense can get it going for the rest of the year. If he does that, he will be the quarterback next year. Now let me know what you guys think. What is the percent chance that Kenny Pickett is the Steelers' QB1 in 2024? I'm guessing I'm going to see a lot of 90s, 95s, 100s, especially after last night's performance. So let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. How are you feeling about KP going forward? Then we got one from GM Ev here who says, is Taco Charlton available? I'm pretty sure he is, but he stinks. Taco Charlton is not good at football. So no. We don't go get him, all right? So we have T.J. Watt. We have Alex Highsmith. We got Marcus Golden, and we got Nick Herbig. That's good enough for me, all right? I don't need Taco Charlton coming in here, with all due respect, GM. Then we got Snowman here. He says, will the Steelers sign Mike Tomlin to a contract extension next year? I think if the Steelers make the playoffs this year, he's going to get one. I think if he gets this team to double-digit wins, 10, 11 wins, and you make the playoffs, with an offense that's probably going to rank in most offensive categories below average, yeah, he's never had a losing season. Yeah, you're probably going to sign this guy to a contract extension next season. Then you got one from Young Noticeable 25 here. It says, saw another podcast where they were saying maybe we should have traded TJ and could have possibly gotten 2 first-rounders and possibly high 2 or 3 with a player. What's your take on this, Sperry? I don't want to trade T.J. Watt is my take on that. I saw that Colin Cowherd was willing to trade George Pickens, T.J. Watt, and what was it, 3 first-round picks for Caleb Williams? I mean, I love Caleb Williams. People around here at Chat Sports know me as the ultimate Caleb Williams supporter. I love me some Caleb Williams. I'm not willing to give up that much for him. I'm just not. TJ Watt is the most valuable defensive player in football. George Pickens is a budding superstar in this league. And then you're giving up essentially your future with 3 first-round draft picks. So, no, I'm not willing to do that. And when it comes to this trade here, I'm not willing to do that either. All right, this team is ready to win now. Why would the Steelers consider this? I just don't understand. You got a team that's ready to go now. You got the talent now. So I really do think that TJ Watt needs to be a Steeler. Don't trade him, even for 2 first-rounders. All right, now let's get to our sponsor here at BetUS. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125 for a 125% deposit bonus. And you might be asking yourselves, what is a deposit bonus? Well, here's what it means. If you put in a deposit of $100 to $600 on the BetUS website, they're going to give you 125% of that money back to you to use on your bets absolutely free of charge. So if you put in $100, all right, they're going to give you $125 additional dollars free of charge to use on your bet. So $225 value for a $100 investment. I think that's a great deal. If you want to take advantage of that right now, you love sports betting, and you want to make some money, go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Steelers125. We got one from Dan Robbins here. He says, where do you rank Mike Tomlin among NFL head coaches right now? So Dan Robbins, looks like Matt Canada is in the chat right now. So I'll say I think he's top 5. Top 5? Is that crazy? I don't think that's crazy. I know there's going to be a lot of Tomlin haters coming at me right now for saying this. But when it comes to what a head coach is supposed to do, all right, you're supposed to be really good on your side of the football, and you're supposed to be a great leader of men. Mike Tomlin is great in both of those categories. He's a top 10 defensive mind easily in this league, maybe top 5. He's consistently delivered great defenses here in the city of Pittsburgh. All right, and then 2, and when it comes to being a leader of men, getting the most out of people, he's never had a losing season. It doesn't matter what goes wrong with this football team. He gets them to at least 8-8. He gets them to at least 500, right? So I think that he needs to get the right offensive coordinator. He needs to get his head out of the sand when it comes to Matt Canada, and he needs to bring in somebody that's going to run a modern offense here. All right, I'm not trying to absolve him of that. He needs a good offensive coordinator because he's a defensive head coach. But when it comes to what a head coach does, lead the team, and then also do your thing on your side of the football, he's great at it. So I'm going to put him in the top 5. But let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Mike Tomlin is a blank best head coach in the National Football League. Answer that question down there in the comment section. Then we got one from Robert Folsom here. He says, sign Evans, the former Titans linebacker. I'm pretty sure he's already been signed, right, Coop? I'm pretty sure he's already been signed. So Robert Folsom, I like that idea with the Cole Holcomb injury out for season. He'd be a great addition to this defense, in my opinion. Unfortunately, don't think he's available. Then we got Damian Roy here. He says, Canada looked like he had several Red Bull energy drinks. Yeah, I liked the energy that he brought to the sideline last night, man. I'm not going to lie. I mean, he had to have somebody the get back guy. You know what I'm talking about? The Sean McVay where the coaches go on the field too much, then they got somebody to kind of rein him back in. He needed one of those guys last night. So I kind of like that energy from Canada last night. I'm not going to lie. He needs to get his offense straight, but hey, I like the energy. Evans did sign with the Cowboys, by the way, so Rashaan Evans, not a possibility. I'd say Anthony Barr, by the way, probably the best opportunity there at the inside linebacker position. That'll be it for this week's mailbag, guys. Thank you so much to everybody that submitted questions. I will see you guys later, and until next time, here we go, Steelers. All right, one more to go here, but let's talk about this for a little bit, because I think Mike Tomlin, I think he's getting some warranted criticism.
When you said 5, I was surprised. I honestly was. I was more thinking in like the 7 to 10 range. But maybe he is top 5. I mean, I don't know.
But here's the reason why I say top 5. When it comes to the 2 things that coaches do you handle your side of the football well, and then can you lead a locker room? Mike Tomlin,
he's the best at that.
Mike Tomlin is the best, arguably one of the best at both of those things. Now, it's also a big part of it to hire the right people around you, and he hasn't done that, okay? So if you're entering that into your equation, he's probably a top 10 coach, not a top 5 coach. So I completely understand with people that would disagree with me on that take. But Mike Tomlin could absolutely win a Super Bowl, in my opinion, right now. If he had the right offensive coordinator to usher in this offense, and they could actually be a pretty darn good offense for the rest of the year, this defense is good enough. This team is resilient enough. It's just you're missing that key piece of a dynamic offensive presence. And Mike Tomlin keeps saying it's the execution, it's not the design. And I think that's a little bit obtuse, right?
Agreed.
That's spoken like somebody that doesn't understand the modern trends in the NFL, because the Steelers don't run any of those things on their offense. They don't have these short motions before the snap to get their wide receivers going, right? They don't do these things that Miami and San Francisco do where they get guys in the middle of the field and they have them run, right? They don't do these things. They have stop routes on the freaking outside right by the sideline.
That's a joke.
I mean, it's a dinosaur of an offense, and for Mike Tomlin to say, oh, well, it's not on the design, it's actually on the players, I think that's a cop-out, and I've said so, right? I've said so on Twitter in the last week. However, like you look at Dan Campbell in Detroit right now, like the ability to get players to buy in is such an important aspect.
100%.
I mean, look at Josh McDaniels. He couldn't control a locker room. He couldn't get the respect of his players.
And that's why he got fired in year 2 again.
And that's why he got fired midway through the season in year 2. You have to be able to control the locker room and gain their respect. And nobody does that better than Mike Tomlin. Right now, it's like Mike Tomlin, Dan Campbell, Andy Reid, like these guys that can really get guys to buy in are the guys that can win Super Bowls and get teams to get to where the Steelers have been, 8-8, 9-8, even with big problems on the offense, even with big problems at the quarterback position. This head coach gets this team to 8-8, 9-8 every year. I mean, at least that, and that's the floor.
Yeah,
that's
the floor.
That's the floor. That is a sign of a great head coach, is when your floor, when your offense sucks, when your quarterback is hurt, when you're dealing with injuries, when all the different stuff in the season is going on, you can get your team to 500, 9-8. Now, listen, that's not a sustainable model for success. Eventually, you're going to have to get better than that. And I think everybody that's a Tomlin supporter understands that fact. And you need to get better on offense if you're going to get past 9-8, right? And we all understand that. But can Mike Tomlin, as a head coach, still win a Super Bowl with the right offensive coordinator by his side?
Probably.
100%. 100%. So fix the actual issue, which is the offensive coordinator, not the non-issue here, which is the head coach. That's my take on it. All right, so we got one more to go here. If you want us to do some crazy stuff here, want us to sing an O Canada song, $10, $5 is a Here We Go Steelers chant. If you want us to eat a super hot jelly bean here, $50 super chat, and we'll eat a Carolina Reaper Bean Boozled jelly bean for you guys.
And they are not fun.
And they are not fun, by the way. So we still got one more. What's the word I'm looking for here? Segment to go here. Here on Steelers Talk. We got free agency targets after Cole Holcomb's injury. So let's get right into that right now. I still got about 120 people watching. Let's get into it right now. Some post-trade deadline free agency targets coming at you right now. The NFL trade deadline has come and gone, but the Steelers might still need to add some pieces to their roster here, especially after Cole Holcomb, the starting inside linebacker, is now out for the season. Welcome into Steelers Talk. And today, I'm going to be going over some post-trade deadline free agency targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers here to try and improve this roster as we get down the home stretch of the 2023 season. Before I get into my list of 8 free agents that the Steelers should consider, go ahead, do me a favor. Get in the comments section right now and name a free agent that's available right now that you want the Steelers to go out and sign right now. Let's start with the best option to replace. I don't know why a Cowboys logo is behind Anthony Barr right there, but I like that Anthony Barr is somebody with experience, somebody that's a really good blitzer, somebody that's still available. Anthony Barr is the best option to replace Cole Holcomb after a season-ending, gruesome knee injury suffered on Thursday Night Football against the Tennessee Titans this week. Really hate to see a guy like Holcomb go down. He was starting to play a lot better after kind of a rocky start to this season. And I don't know if you guys watched that video of of his knee completely bending in the wrong direction. It's disgusting. It doesn't look like it's good. So we hope that he can make a full recovery and he's back by next season. But as for 2023, he's going to be out. And I really do think that Anthony Barr is somebody that could take that third linebacker spot here on this roster. Right now, you got a Landon Roberts, you got Quan Alexander, and you got Mark Robinson as your linebackers. I mean, Keanu Neal could maybe step in and play a linebacker role here if you absolutely need him to. So it's definitely not a for sure thing that you have to replace Holcomb on this roster. With an inside linebacker, you could potentially get some other positions. But I like Landon Roberts, Quan Alexander. Roberts is a liability in pass coverage, which makes me a little bit worried. But I would personally put Mark Robinson in that role. I would put Mark Robinson in and see what he can do. If he doesn't work out, put Keanu Neal in that role as that other coverage linebacker and see what he can do. I really like what I've seen from Quan Alexander this season. Hard hitter, good in coverage. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, and this Steelers brass handle this big-time injury to one of their starters. Another player that I think you could consider to replace Mason Cole as your starting center here, Ben Jones, somebody that I am shocked is still available in NFL free agency because last year he was pretty damn good, man, with the Tennessee Titans, longtime starting center for Tennessee. And just last year was pretty damn good, man, a 71.9 Pro Football Focus grade. That's about middle of the pack in the NFL last year. I mean, this guy's a good starter that's still available on the free agency market. And let's just be completely frank with each other here. Mason Cole has not been good this year. He has probably been the worst offensive lineman on this team, maybe besides Dan Moore Jr. and Chukwuma Okorafor so far this year. I like what I've seen from Isaac Seumalo and James Daniels here over the last couple of weeks. Broderick Jones was fantastic in Week 9 versus the Titans. Dan Moore Jr. has played a lot better over the last 2 weeks. But Mason Cole is still kind of stinking, right? 48.9 Pro Football Focus grade. He's currently ranked as the 33rd ranked center out of 38 by Pro Football Focus. I definitely think that Ben Jones is the type of guy where if you inject him in here and you inject a good starter just last season into this offensive line, it gets even better in this run game led by Jalen Warren and Najee Harris can get even better as the season goes on, increasing the Steelers' chances at winning the AFC North. Now, coming up here, I got more free agency targets to break down with you guys. But first, I want to go over today's sponsor, which is Prize Picks. And let me tell you, man, this app has been super addictive. I've been making a little bit of money since I started using this, and we've started to partner with Prize Picks. And let me tell you, man, this thing is so freaking fun. You guys need to get going right now with Prize Picks. It's the perfect way to spice up your game days this NFL season, and it's a skill-based, real money, daily fantasy sports game. You might be asking yourself, how does something like this work, daily fantasy sports? Well, here's how. You pick 2 to 6 players, and if they'll go for more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 25 times your money on any entry. And let's take a look at my entry for this weekend's game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins. I got the less on Tua Tagovailoa's passing yards, and then I got more for Patrick Mahomes in terms of passing yards. I think Patrick is going to bounce back this week after a tough loss to the Denver Broncos. You can get your picks in right now. Check it out at prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. With Prize Picks, it takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks. So get started right away. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use our code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS at prizepicks.com/CLNS for a deposit match up to $100 today. Now, this one might surprise some people here. Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, somebody that we considered bringing in during free agency or somebody that I had on my list of free agency targets even going back to the offseason. And this is somebody that's a technician in the slot. He's a good blocker from the slot. He's a great locker room presence. And right now, let's just face it, the Allen Robinson experiment has not worked out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, really good 1-2 combo there between gin and juice. But then you got Allen Robinson in the slot. And, you know, I mean, he looks like a traffic cone out there, man. He's slow. He's not getting out of his breaks quickly. He's not the same Allen Robinson that was a number 1 receiver in Chicago anymore. He's just not. His real only value to the team is run blocking at this point. But right now, if you bring in Jarvis Landry, you get the receiving upside with the run blocking. So I'm kind of done with the Allen Robinson experiment right now. So if the Steelers want to get better here and bring in Jarvis Landry, I would 100% be okay with that, especially because Calvin Austin III, their other option in the slot right now, can't block anybody because he's super thin, super tiny. I want somebody that can block. Jarvis Landry can do that. Then we got Casey Hayward here, former number 1 cornerback in the National Football League, formerly with the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Steelers have tried to bring in some veteran corners, and it has not worked out as of late, a.k.a. Desmond King, a.k.a. William Jackson III. So maybe the Steelers aren't too keen on this strategy anymore. Patrick Peterson, for the record, has not been what they thought he was going to be coming into the year either. So maybe they want to go the young cornerback route with like Darius Rush, Corey Trice, Joey Porter Jr. Maybe they want to lean into the young athletic guys instead of the older aging guys. But listen, man, Casey Hayward, somebody that's played a lot of football in this league, somebody that would be a good fit here in Pittsburgh, and somebody that can play in the slot as well. Can play outside, inside, brings that versatility. Very recently was a very good starter in this league, so I guess it'll be interesting to see if the Steelers consider bringing in another corner. It's a pretty darn stacked room right now, so you might have to get rid of one of these guys if you end up bringing in Casey Hayward. Then another corner that you could consider is Byron Jones, somebody that's known around the league as a press man corner. The Steelers want to play more press, and they want another corner that can handle his business on the outside. Byron Jones would be a good option for them. Maybe not quite as dominant as he was earlier on in his career, but hey, Byron Jones is somebody that's known as a press man corner. Steelers traditionally like to run that type of our defense. If you put him on the other side of Joey Porter Jr., it could cause problems for opposing offenses. Then if you want to go get a guy specifically for the slot, you could go get Bryce Callahan, the best slot corner available in free agency right now. Chandon Sullivan has been really bad to start this season. I'm sorry, guys. He just has. Patrick Peterson has been dabbling in the slot. Minkah Fitzpatrick, before he got hurt, was dabbling in the slot. But they don't really have a true slot corner right now. So with Cole Holcomb out for the year, it's possible that they want to bring in a legitimate slot corner to see if Bryce Callahan has what it takes to still start in the National Football League from the inside. Now, who do you guys think should play more here? Okay, do you think Patrick Peterson, Chandon Sullivan, 2 current Steelers, should get most of the reps in the slot? Or do you think they should go out and get a guy like Bryce Callahan to come in and be the bona fide slot corner moving forward here in Pittsburgh? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and let's talk some Steelers football. All right, now let's move on to the last position here, offensive tackle, La'el Collins, somebody that people are throwing around on Steelers Twitter a ton. Definitely the most accomplished offensive tackle still available in free agency, but I really do doubt that the Pittsburgh Steelers bring La'el Collins in to be the next right tackle of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like what Broderick Jones did at that spot here in Week 9 versus Tennessee. He seemed like a natural on the right side. Now, if the reason that you might want to bring in a tackle is you want to move Broderick over to the left side for good, and you want to bring in a La'el Collins here to be your right tackle for the future. But listen, he's already worked out for a number of teams. They have said that he's not healthy yet, and I don't want to bring in a guy like that at this point in the NFL season. And then would he want to come to Pittsburgh? Maybe. We're sitting at 5-3 right now, but do I really want him? I'm not too sure, but I had to put him on this list. Then another offensive tackle to consider, Eric Fisher, has not played a regular season game since 2021, but he is a former starter in this league, former high draft pick, somebody that has played quite a bit of football in this league before, but there's definitely not a whole lot of options on the offensive line right now. If you're looking for an offensive tackle and you're probably not going to bring in La'el Collins, Eric Fisher's probably your best bet. Taylor Lewan, I don't think is a realistic possibility. He's lost so much weight. But Fisher, the problem with him is that no team has been willing to play him for the last 2 years. So I really don't think there's a ton of great opportunities on the offensive line right now in free agency. Plain simply, if you could play in this league, pretty much you'd be signed at this point. So right now, you look at Eric Fisher. Last time he played, he was a 68.2 PFF grade. If I were the Steelers, I'm not fixing what isn't broken. I'm keeping Dan Moore Jr. at left tackle right now. I'm keeping Broderick Jones at right tackle. If you want to bring in Eric Fisher or maybe even La'el Collins to be a backup to Broderick and Dan Moore and kind of replace Chukwuma Okorafor, maybe that'd be a decent idea, but at this point, I really don't see that happening. Now, let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. Predict it. Will the Steelers make another signing in NFL free agency before the season is over? Type yes or type no. Let me know what you guys are thinking down there in the comments. That'll be it for today's show, Steelers Nation. Thank you so much for all of your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button right now. Join our family of over 35,000 Yinzers here on YouTube. And until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers. All right.
We got a $2 super chat from Logie. He says, if offered Herbert for a 24 first and a second, for what? Yes or no?
For what? Ooh.
Or, I don't know if he meant for what or just in general.
So I offered Hurt. I don't think it's for what.
Okay, just straight up? Yeah, I would do that probably.
Yes.
Easily.
For a first and a second for Justin Herbert? For the talent that guy has?
The talent that guy has, man? Come on now.
I'm taking that every day of the week.
He did not say for what, so straight up. Dude,
that is a steal for the Pittsburgh Steelers if you get that.
If Omar Khan did that,
that's a steal.
He should get a key to the city.
Dude, Justin Herbert's a top 10 quarterback in this league right now. Guaranteed. You're telling me all I have to give up is a first and a second for that guy? Easy. I'm doing it. And he's also shown the ability to be clutch in some of these football games.
For sure.
Like, I know people are going to throw out, what about the loss last year to Jacksonville? Because that's the game that everybody thinks about in their mind. But when you look at Herbert's numbers in the fourth quarter, he's been he's been a very clutch quarterback throughout his career.
He has been awesome.
One bad kind of shutdown loss there in the playoffs.
And it was bad.
And it was bad. Don't get me wrong. All right, but hey, this guy's a clutch quarterback. He's got incredible arm talent. You're telling me first round, second round, and then you probably get another pick in return for Pickett somewhere else?
I'm in. You
get another fourth or fifth rounder for Pickett? I'm in. Bring Justin Herbert here to Pittsburgh. Match him up with TJ Watt, with guys like with Alex Highsmith, with Cam Hayward, with Minkah Fitzpatrick, with George Pickens.
I'm in. Let's go.
I'm in, man.
Bring Herbie to Pittsburgh.
Is it ridiculous? Yes.
Absolutely.
Will it ever happen? No. But if the Chargers GM is calling me up right now and saying first and a second for Herbert, I'm taking it every time.
If it happens, will you go live for 24 hours?
Yes. We will go live for 24 hours if the Steelers trade for Justin Herbert this offseason.
I'm in.
All right, we're in for that. Okay, Logie, appreciate you, my friend. Coop, I think we're about to say goodbye today. We appreciate everybody, all 100 Yinzers in the chat right now. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. All right, man. That's always the highlight of my week right there, Coop.
That's right, baby.
Appreciate everybody that stopped by today for today's Steelers Talk live show. If you want more content from me when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, check me out on Twitter at Jack_Sperry. And then also check out Coop if you would as well. Give us a follow. We really do appreciate everybody.
Thank you, homies.
If you give me a follow on Twitter, I'll say this right now to all 95 of you watching. If you go follow me on Twitter, I'll give you a shout out on a future edition of Steelers Talk. All right, so go ahead, get that done right now. Appreciate everybody that was in the chat today. You guys are absolutely awesome. We'll see you guys next Wednesday for next Steelers Talk live show. Until next time, people.